Hey guys, welcome back to Electrical Car Repair Live. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video guys to any of you having a Hyundai Santa Fe, you have engine light on and called P2187. Stay with us, we'll explain what most likely causes that. It could be multiple things, like it could be up to 10 things guys, so stay with us and we'll explain what can cause that. Now we're demonstrating on a 2.4 GDI engine, but even if you have a different generation, different engine on Hyundai Santa Fe, it's very similar procedure to fix called P2187. So all that will be covered today. Make sure to stay until the end. You don't need to remove the engine in most cases to do that repair guys, but we have it out due to the fact that we'll be making hundreds of videos that can potentially save you thousands of dollars. And with the engine out, we can clearly show you where everything is and how to do that stuff. So now before we start, let me introduce you to the channel guys. If you need to buy any parts or tools, check out the link in the description of the video below and you can see where we get all our tools and parts from for a really good price and quick shipping as well. Number two, every single car we get at the garage, we try to make at least 200 to 300 free repair videos guys. Why we do all that? Simply because our mission in the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need in return, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Now let's explain guys, okay, what can cause these codes P2187 and how to approach it and how to fix it. So before we start guys, many of you constantly ask me in the comment section below to actually recommend a diagnostic tool, and I'll put the link in the description of the video below to this tool right here. It's amazing tool guys. You can see it works on almost any car you can think of. Hyundai is right here and it can pay itself off in one-time use. Check out the link for more information. Now let me explain what we'll be doing here. Okay, we have the intake manifold removed and we will explain why. Simply guys, okay, P2187 means that your system is too lean on bank 1 guys. If you have a 4-cylinder engine, that means bank 1, just your engine. If you have a 6-cylinder engine, you have bank 1 and bank 2 because you have 2-cylinder heads, but in our case we have 1-cylinder head. So let's explain now, okay, what can cause system to be too lean. If you come guys on the back side of the engine where the exhaust manifold is, you're going to find out that you have oxygen sensor, the first oxygen sensor known as WAMDA sensor 1 or upstream oxygen sensor 1. Now this sensor detects how much fuel and air you still have in the exhaust after the mixture burns through the engine. And you actually have another sensor like that, that's sensor number 2, but it detects if the catalytic converter is working correctly. But this sensor is telling the computer how the mixture is. So if it detects that you have too much air in the mixture, okay, not enough fuel, or it's going to send that information to the engine computer and trigger that code P2187 or code P0171. Now let's explain guys, okay, what can cause that now. What can cause system to be too lean? It means that you have either too much air in the system or not enough fuel. Let's start with the, okay, having too much air in the system. Too much air in the system guys can be caused by multiple things. Number one thing guys, okay, one of the most common ones that we see, a vacuum leak. What is a vacuum leak guys? Extra air that the engine doesn't know of. Your engine guys, okay, depending on the year, generation and the market where it's built for, okay, on the air filter box where the intake hose is, you have a device known as a MAP sensor. Some models have that, some not. It measures how much air the engine is getting. Other models just use the MAP sensor, which is located on the intake manifold, and uses the intake temperature sensor as well to actually calculate the amount of air the engine is getting. So now if you guys have a bad MAP or MAP sensor, okay, that can easily trigger that light. But how the engine can get extra air that it doesn't know of? For instance guys, on the intake manifold right here, okay, you're going to have, okay, you can see a bracket, okay, clamp. So make sure it's tied to the air filter box. Make sure that clamp is tied to the throttle body right here. If it's loose, it might be getting air. Make sure the hoses are installed. For instance, you can see this one is not installed. Make sure all the hoses, vacuum hoses, are installed and they're not leaking or cracked. Make sure the one directional valves are working correctly as well, and you have a line that connects to the booster, to the brake booster as well. If you have a crack on any of these lines, that can easily cause that code. Also, we have another device that's known as a purge control valve that brings the fuel vapors to the intake manifold, okay, and that's where you have, okay, a few more lines. You can see, and if those lines are cracked, and you can see ours are, that can easily lead, okay guys, okay, let me focus, that can easily lead to vacuum leaks. The engine will be getting more air than it needs, or as a result it doesn't even know about it. Then on the back side of the intake manifold you have multiple vacuum lines, okay, right here you can see as well. And these lines, guys, okay, these lines, if any of those hoses are broken, that can easily cause that code as well. On the other side you have another one that's known as the PCV valve, PCV line, the positive crankcase ventilation valve. It goes to right here, and if you even have a bad PCV valve, that can easily cause that code as well, because bad PCV valve can cause vacuum leaks, guys. Now another thing that can cause vacuum leaks is bad gaskets on the intake manifold. If one of those gaskets is bad, the engine will be getting more air, or a bad gasket on the throttle body. We've seen that happen as well. Now, what else? Okay, what else can cause that now, guys? The engine may be getting, okay, less fuel than it needs. So that can be caused, guys, by dirty fuel filter. If the fuel filter is not letting enough fuel go through the engine, especially at higher RPMs, or you're accelerating, passing somebody, that can easily starve for fuel, and as a result you can get that code. Number two, you may have dirty fuel injector that's not spraying enough fuel, and as a result, okay, that can lead to that code as well, guys, okay, because dirty fuel injector will not spray the correct amount of fuel. Number three, okay, it could be a bad fuel pressure sensor on the fuel rail, and as a result you may not be getting enough fuel pressure, and the fuel injectors may not work correctly. Another thing, guys, it could be a weak fuel pump. The fuel pump, if it's not pumping enough fuel, okay, that can easily happen as well. And lastly, guys, okay, but that's actually a quite common one, it could be a bad oxygen sensor, because if the oxygen sensor is not actually detecting, guys, the correct amount of fuel and air in the system, okay, it can send the wrong information to the engine computer, so it could be a bad oxygen sensor as well. Those are the most common things that we see here at the shop, guys. Hopefully the video will be helpful. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.